Joe Biden pardoned you and a number of people who he thought Trump would go after.
No, I take the opposite view. I don't think he should have given the pardons at all.
Really?
No, I don't think he should have, and I was vocal about that at the time.
Can you refuse a pardon?
That's less clear because in the case of the January 6th committee, he pardoned essentially the whole committee.
And the fact that Schiff hasn't blinked since 1992. And he didn't take the news so well. The disgraced Democrat went on TikTok to complain. Behold.
Congressman Adam Schiff with some troubling news. Today, Kevin McCarthy removed me from the House Intelligence Committee, all for doing my job, for holding Trump accountable and standing up to the extreme MAGA Republicans.
There are moments in politics that feel like a tectonic shift, a deep and violent tremor that cracks the very foundation of a powerful figure's career. For Adam Schiff, that moment wasn't a single earthquake, but a slow, brutal, and public dismantling carried out by the most unlikely of alliances. Imagine a world where Bill Maher, the acerbic liberal icon who spits venom at conservatives, and Greg Gutfeld, the sarcastic Fox News kingpin, suddenly find themselves in complete agreement. Their shared target? Adam Schiff. This isn't just partisan bickering. It's a sign of a credibility collapse so profound that it bridges the widest political canyon in America. For years, Schiff cultivated the image of a calm, meticulous, almost scholarly prosecutor, the man who would soberly defend democracy. But that carefully constructed facade has been shattered. And now, even those who should be his allies are leading the charge to expose the man behind the mask.
Let's stop talking about Trump. We talk about him too much. We want to tell people what we're going to do for them. Healthcare, environment, those kind of issues. For example, I've seen you on TV a lot in the last couple of years. I know everything you know, or that you tell us, about the Russian situation. I don't have a clue what you think about healthcare. I've never heard it. I don't know whether you're for Medicare for all or improve Obamacare or get a chicken. I don't know what.
The story of Adam Schiff's downfall begins with the very thing that made him famous, the Trump-Russia collusion narrative. Long before he was a cable news fixture, he was a California congressman who saw a political opportunity of a lifetime. He latched onto the Steele dossier, a collection of lurid, unverified, and ultimately debunked rumors paid for by his own party's campaign, and he treated it not as raw intelligence, but as holy scripture. He transformed himself into the high priest of the collusion theory, appearing on television day after day, night after night, with a knowing look and a hushed, serious tone. He spoke of more than circumstantial evidence that he had personally seen, evidence that was in plain sight for all to see if only they looked hard enough. He created a national soap opera, and millions of Americans were glued to their screens, waiting for the next bombshell. The problem was, the bombshell never came. He was selling a ghost story, and when special counsel Robert Mueller finally released his report after years of investigation and millions of taxpayer dollars spent, it was a spectacular dud. No collusion, no conspiracy, none of the grand treasonous plot Schiff had promised. The house of cards didn't just fall, it was obliterated, and buried deep within the wreckage was the last shred of his credibility.
For Adam Schiff, because he created 3 years of a massive fallacy that did so much damage to this country and made us miss probably one of the most important stories of our lifetime. We were having hearings on impeachment while the coronavirus was exploding.
With his signature issue in ashes, Schiff desperately needed a new stage, and he found it during the first impeachment of Donald Trump. This was his chance at redemption, a new leading role where he could reclaim his status as the nation's chief prosecutor. As the lead House impeachment manager, he stood before the country and delivered monologues filled with lofty rhetoric about constitutional duty and the sacredness of our democracy. He was a master of political theater, using dramatic pauses, props, and solemn expressions to convey the gravity of the moment. He spoke as if the fate of the republic rested solely on his shoulders. But beneath the Shakespearean performance, the substance was alarmingly thin. The entire spectacle revolved around a single phone call with the president of Ukraine. While many found the call improper, Schiff framed it as a crime on par with treason. He was playing a character, and for a country already exhausted by years of hyperpartisanship, his grave performance began to feel hollow and disproportionate. The impeachment ended in a predictable acquittal, but for Schiff the performance was the point. He had kept himself in the spotlight, cementing his image as Trump's #1 nemesis, even if it meant dragging the country through another divisive and ultimately fruitless political war.
Hearings on impeachment while the coronavirus was exploding. We talked about that virus in green rooms, but we had to do this impeachment story. We had to show these hearings. It's all on him, man. He's got to go. They got to investigate him. They got to hold him accountable. I'm not going to say he should go to prison, but my evil twin will say he should go away to prison for a very long time.
Schiff got kicked to the curb, and the irony is superb. He went crying to mommy on an app run by Chinese commies. Congressman Adam Schiff announced this morning he's running for U.S. Senate in California, which is guaranteed to boost U-Haul rentals headed for Texas. He unveiled the highly polished and produced political ad right on the heels of getting booted from the House Intel Committee. Coincidence? I think not.
It was during this all-consuming impeachment saga that the most devastating critique of Adam Schiff began to take hold. An accusation championed with relentless force by Greg Gutfeld. Gutfeld painted a chilling split-screen picture of America in early 2020. On one side of the screen, you had Adam Schiff delivering his somber, self-important speeches about a phone call. On the other side, you had news tickers silently flashing warnings about a mysterious new virus in Wuhan, of borders closing, and of scientists sounding a global alarm. Gutfeld's argument was brutal and direct. Schiff's obsessive quest for impeachment had served as a catastrophic national distraction. The nation's leaders, its intelligence agencies, and its media were all mesmerized by Schiff's political drama while a real lethal threat was silently invading the country. The opportunity cost was immense. The time and energy Congress spent on impeachment could have been used to hold hearings on pandemic preparedness, to secure vital supply chains for masks and ventilators, or to develop a coherent public health strategy. The charge wasn't just that Schiff had failed politically, it was that his personal vendetta and his hunger for the spotlight had left America blind, vulnerable, and dangerously unprepared for the single greatest crisis of our generation.
Atlantic put out an article last year, and it was called "Separating Sports by Sex Doesn't Make Sense."
Right.
And talked about how we separate sports like the WNBA and the just because it's just socialization. This is insane.
I agree.
Okay. That's why people vote for Trump. Mm-hmm. Because there's stuff like that on the left that people just go, I know Trump's horrible, but separating by sports by sex makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. And if you think it doesn't, you can't lead the country.
This was the charged atmosphere. When Bill Maher, a man who despises Donald Trump with every fiber of his being, decided to finally call Schiff out, he didn't attack him on Russia or impeachment. He went for the jugular. He invited Schiff onto his show, and in front of a live audience, he stripped away the political theater and asked a question so simple and so profound that it left Schiff visibly stunned. Maher looked him in the eye and asked, "What have you actually done for America?" He laid it out plain after years of watching Schiff on TV. He knew every arcane detail of the Ukraine phone call, but he had absolutely no clue what Schiff's position was on healthcare, on the economy, on the environment, or on any issue that directly impacted the lives of ordinary Americans. The question was brilliant, because it cut through the entire partisan circus. It wasn't about being pro-Trump or anti-Trump, it was about competence versus performance. Schiff, the polished orator, stumbled. He had no answer. He defaulted to his tired talking points about defending democracy because it was the only script he knew. In that moment, a liberal icon had exposed one of his own as a hollow political shell, a man with no substance beyond his singular obsession.
Dems pop their dentures when Schiff finally gets censored. And so the House condemns the lies of the man with the zombie eyes. Last night, the House voted on party lines to censure Adam Schiff for promoting the Trump-Russia collusion hoax, which was as believable as Brian Kilmeade getting fan mail. 2 for 2. Schiff becomes only the 26th member ever to be censured. But to his credit, he's still the only member to have a 12-inch neck.
The interrogation didn't stop there. Maher continued to methodically peel back the layers of Schiff's carefully constructed persona, revealing a raw and cynical hypocrisy. When the conversation turned to thorny cultural issues, Schiff's political two-step was on full display. Asked for a clear stance on the contentious issue of trans women in sports, he dodged and weaved like a professional boxer, delivering a perfectly calibrated non-answer full of woke jargon, designed to placate his progressive base without taking a firm stand. It was a masterclass in political cowardice. But the most revealing moment came when Maher brought up a real-world legal scandal. A sitting judge who had been arrested for helping an illegal immigrant escape from ICE agents. Here was a direct assault on the rule of law from within the judicial system itself. This should have been red meat for Schiff. the self-proclaimed champion of justice, yet he offered no outrage, no fiery speech. He just shrugged, claiming he didn't know enough about it to comment. The man who could spin a conspiracy theory out of a single anonymous source suddenly had nothing to say about a documented crime. It was a stunning display of selective outrage, proving that for Adam Schiff, justice is not a principle. It's a weapon to be used only against his political enemies.
Senator Schiff, given the ongoing political tensions and Trump's actions toward his critics, do you think President Biden's preemptive pardons turned out to be more important than initially expected? Let's first tell people what that means, preemptive pardons. That was pretty unprecedented, right? Before he left office, Joe Biden pardoned you and a number of people who he thought Trump would go after.
No, I take the opposite view. I don't think he should have given the pardons at all.
Really?
No, I don't think he should have, and I was vocal about that at the time.
Can you refuse a pardon?
That's less clear because in the case of the January 6th committee, he pardoned essentially the whole committee.
The chickens finally came home to roost. The House of Representatives took the rare and severe step of formally censuring Adam Schiff for his conduct. In a moment of profound public humiliation, he was forced to stand in the well of the House, a lonely figure, as the resolution condemning him for misleading the American people was read aloud for the entire country to hear. He became only the 26th member in U.S. history to receive such a rebuke. His reaction was as predictable as it was cynical. He immediately went in front of the cameras, framing the censure not as a consequence of his actions, but as a badge of honor, a partisan attack by MAGA extremists who feared his truth-telling. He was attempting to fundraise off his own disgrace, turning his public shaming into a marketing tool for his base, but the facts remained. He wasn't being punished for his courage. He was being held accountable for abusing his power, for lying to the public, and for poisoning the well of political discourse for years. The censure was a permanent stain, a historical footnote that would forever be attached to his name.
And so the FBI came in and arrested the judge. Now, I haven't heard that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I've ever read arrested a judge. So is this significant?
Well, I think
I'm not going to comment on something I don't know more about than what you've just told me.
You read about it too.
Yeah, I mean, I read about it, but I don't know.
So you don't trust anything either, and you work for the New York Times.
Well,
Dems pop their dentures when Schiff finally gets censored. And so the House condemns the lies of the man with the zombie eyes. Last night, the House voted on party lines to censure Adam Schiff for promoting the Trump-Russia collusion hoax, which was as believable as Brian Kilmeade getting fan mail. Schiff becomes only the 26th member ever to be censured, but to his credit, he's still the only member to have a 12-inch neck.
After being publicly disgraced, stripped of his powerful committee post, and formally condemned by his peers, what does a man with Adam Schiff's ambition do? He doesn't retreat. He doesn't reflect. He aims for a promotion. Almost immediately after the censure, he rolled out a slick, highly produced campaign ad announcing his run for California's open U.S. Senate seat. The audacity was breathtaking. The ad, of course, painted him as a heroic warrior, still fighting the good fight against the forces of darkness. It was a work of political fiction designed to erase the humiliating reality of his recent past. The move confirmed what his critics had been saying all along. Adam Schiff is a career politician singularly focused on his own relentless climb up the ladder. He saw the Senate not as a place to serve, but as a platform to regain the national influence and media spotlight he so desperately craves. His campaign now poses a direct question to the voters of California. Will you reward a man whose entire legacy is built on division and deception? Will you promote a politician who offers no solutions for your state's real problems, crime, homelessness, an affordability crisis, but promises only to continue a tired, old political war? But there's one final bizarre twist to this saga. A shadowy subplot that could have explosive consequences down the road. Just before leaving office, President Biden issued a series of unprecedented preemptive pardons for members of the January 6th committee, including Adam Schiff. It was a move designed as a legal shield, an insurance policy against any future prosecution by a rival administration. But now, strange whispers are emanating from the dark corners of Washington. Rumors questioning the authenticity of signatures on some of the president's most important documents. It's the kind of thing that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it opens up a Pandora's box of constitutional chaos. What if Schiff's get-out-of-jail-free card, his secret pardon, was built on a foundation of sand? What if the very paperwork meant to protect him turned out to be invalid? The irony would be almost poetic. The man who built his career peddling flimsy theories based on shady sources could see his own future jeopardized by one. The accountability he has so masterfully dodged for years might not be off the table after all. In the end, the story of Adam Schiff's spectacular rise and fall is a cautionary tale for our times. It's about more than just one man's lies. It's a verdict on a political system that has come to reward performance over substance and conflict over competence. He is the ultimate political illusionist, a master of misdirection who can keep an audience captivated while the real problems fester just off stage. His career is a monument to what happens when personal ambition and partisan warfare completely eclipse the duty of public service. The mask has not just slipped, it's been ripped off by figures from both the left and the right. What's been revealed is not a principled statesman, but a showman standing on an empty stage whose one big trick has been exposed. As he now asks the people of California for one more round of applause for a promotion to one of the most powerful offices in the land, he represents a choice. And the story of Adam Schiff is a stark, unavoidable warning about what happens when we, the people, choose the show over the solution.